the computer. But I've known Shishir for a while, and I've done some work with him on the heart and stroke as well. So he is touching many, many, many lives, and of course, the experience that he has in business is phenomenal, unmatched. But that's just a few words. Shishir, will you introduce yourself to us, and then you have the next 30 to 40 minutes or whatever you want.
I thank you very much, Dave. Good to be amongst friends. So many of you I already know, and there are one or two I've never met before. Pleasure meeting you all. And I think we call Anna, I call her Anushka. We've had a couple of intimate conversations, Anushka. It was nice. Always a pleasure to be in your company. First and foremost, a disclaimer. I do not know all the answers. I'm simply not young enough. Many of you consider yourselves in business as leaders. How many of us feel we are leaders? How many of us feel we are followers? Why do I do that? It basically tells me one thing very clearly, that in order to be a good leader, you also need to be a good follower. If it hadn't been for people showing us how to stand up and walk, where would we be today? We were followers. And today, as Helen says, constantly learning is so crucial. And we continue doing that. So we are all leaders, we are all followers at the same time. A Greek philosopher said, learn to obey before you command. Leadership is not a destination. Leadership is a journey. It's an evolution. There's no finish line. That's why I, like most of you, am a lifelong learner. By the time we finish today, I will have learned a few things from you. There is leadership of teams, which I'm quite used to. There's also the leadership of the self. That is something that I'm getting more and more familiar with. And it's crucial that we all re-examine our lives and understand we got to lead ourselves before we can lead anybody else. On the business side, leaders take charge, as we know, with vision, planning, communications, people skills, character, competence, courage. All these things make for a leader. Numerous levels and methods of leaderships. But let's firstly talk about position of a leader. How do you become a CEO, a title, a status, hierarchy of powers? This is my pyramid of structure. This is my org structure in a company, and I sit here. Well, we defined ourselves. That's when, quite often, ego rises to the top. The boss kind, I'm the boss. Title, command, control. Do as I say. I determine your future, or else you are gone. Even Henry Ford said one line which bothers me. He said, why do I get a whole person and all I need is a pair of hands? Dealing with people is never easy. And it's time that we all invest our time in improving the way we interact. That sense of entitlement, that lack of humility leads to a lot of staff turnover. A lot of unhappy people who are only showing up at the door for the paycheck. It's full of phoniness, bluster, lots of shine, no substance. I believe that's very off-putting. Those of you who are growing your business, remember, alone you can only go so far. A man was being interviewed, and the CEO was sitting on the boardroom on the side, and they approved of the candidate. So the CEO, needing to show off, says, "So who you work for now, my son?" The man looked at the CEO and said, "I work for our customers, sir." He keeps things in perspective. Let's talk about leadership and how it affects relationships. Being human, warm, inspiring, encouraging, that makes for a good leader. We've seen those ones who detach themselves from their people. I did become one for a short time when I lost touch with my plant, people who work for me. I was humbled very quickly by a friend of mine who said, "I hear your guy in the spray booth there had a son yesterday." "Oh, really?" I said. "I didn't know that." He says, "Why don't you invite him to your office and buy him or get him a cup of coffee? You make it for him." A lesson learned. Nelson Mandela was traveling in a, diplomacy somewhere, and they were stopping for lunch at a hotel. So they all got out of their limos going to the hotel, and he looked at the chauffeur who was still sitting in the car. Everybody was walking towards the hotel. Mandela went to the door and said to the chauffeur, "Are you not going to join us for lunch?" That makes good leaders. Be aware, people feel way before they reason. Let me repeat that. They feel a lot more quickly before they reason. How do I appeal to you now is not the words. It's a full body language. It's words that touch you here rather than here. Important. Emotions drive reason. Maya Angelou said something interesting. She says, "You'll forget what I said, but you will never forget how I made you feel." That's important. Feelings is where most decisions arise from. Good leaders, therefore, have to be good communicators. As you've heard many times, facts tell, stories sell, and a videographer knows our emotional appeal is so crucial in keeping people engaged and still continue. Does using humor diminish you in the eyes of people who work for you? How many of you think it does? Nobody. Good. Good. Humor is the key. Smile, the shortest distance between two people. Shortest distance between two people. It enhances you. It makes you human. As long as you are kind, inclusive, and self-effacing. Don't use humor at somebody else's expense. One day I was in a large board meeting at Heart and Stroke, and the chairman of the board was sitting there, and for an icebreaker, there's 25 of us. They said, "Well, let's everybody share a secret about yourself which nobody knows." We kind of talked about things, our interests, our hobbies, things that you do outside of Heart and Stroke, which seemed quite normal until it comes to turn for the chairman of the board, who stands up. And he's almost as tall as me. I'm 5'4". And he says, "I've got a secret to share with you." We all kind of lean in. "Oh, yeah? I'm actually 6'4", he said. But see the smiles that come across? That's the short distance. And that's how he managed to break that ice. It makes you more relatable, warm, fun, telling stories, as Dave was mentioning. It diffuses tension in the room immediately and improves ability to speak up. Imagine if your staff was there and they heard you do that. Now they feel, yeah, I can share things with the chairman, not a problem. I can relate to him. Those soft skills that I'm talking about, emotional intelligence, are essential. A lot of people think IQ is what gets you hired. My friend, be careful. It's EQ that draws people to you first. Now we hear about the AI and how it's taking over everything. Copilot, somebody mentioned. Yes, of course. These things are improving every day, fast, rapidly. And yet they're having a hell of a job trying to match the human side, which is not so easy to replicate. 50% of good communications is not just speaking, lecturing. It's being able to see, hear, reading between the lines, not just what they said, but you even sense what they're trying to say. That's crucial. And listen not to reply. Listen first to understand. What's the message that they're trying to give me? I'm not trying to solve their problem right away. I'm trying to make them feel that they got heard. Many, many times, people just want to be heard. A woman was sitting outside a court with a check in her hands, crying. The man walks by and says, "Madam, everything okay?" She says, yeah, everything's okay. "But why are you crying? You have a $100,000 check in your hand." "Yeah, I didn't come for the check. I came to be heard and all the injustices that have been done on me. This check is not the reason I came. I wanted to be heard. I wanted the law system to understand that." Those are important messages. After having heard all that, how many of you still think that business is a science? Nobody. Nobody thinks business is a science. There's no template that people can give you and say, now you will become successful. I've given you all these 5 things to do. It's an art form. Leadership is also about getting work done. Get the job done. Show us the numbers. Make yourself worthy of the profits that you want to make. Productivity is what I'm talking about. There was a sign in front of a manager's office one day. It says, "The beatings will continue until the morale improves." The beatings will continue until the morale improves. I think it says it all. How do you get people to perform? There's a constant tension between productivity and relationships. "I'll do it tomorrow, Jim. You know me. I'll come through. Don't worry." When do you say, "Not enough? You told me this 100 times. I want this thing done"? When do you draw that line, and do you walk that fine line, being familiar but not friendly? That's what happens when you take people and put your arm around them and say, "Oh, you're part of the same team. We're going the same place. Don't worry. It's okay."
Shishir is frozen, right?
Yep.
Okay.
I thought it was a very dramatic pause for a little bit there.
I thought it was my internet.
At least he's looking straight in the camera. Does anyone want to fill the gap here?
Must be bad Wi-Fi.
Okay. My Wi-Fi was sticking a little bit this morning too, but he's giving us the basic here, but it's important. People want to be heard, stuff like that. And quite often, as salespeople, we go in and we just start vomiting on people. And as a result, they don't like you. So no sales is made, right? So the fundamental that he's given us is very, very important.
Especially if it's very scientific and I am not aware of some of the science, and then I tend to glaze over after a while.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you a story about Dave in listening.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Craig, while Shashir is getting ready to come back.
I did an interview with Dave when I was doing a podcast called Business Heroes. And David talked about how he was by far the best salesman where he was at. And I asked how he managed to do that. And he said there was a guy out near the airport, right? Who Friday afternoons would be everyone would be going away to the cottage and he'd be there working late and Dave would go visit him then and then just ask him what's going on and he'd listen to the guy and then he'd help him solve his problems. Right? He went to the guy in the time of need, listened to him, and offered him a solution.
Yeah. Craig listens well because he remembers. It's the guy we were doing kiosks for the airport, but he was actually at Victoria Park Pharmacy and Steels, IBM. So yeah,
There
that's
you go.
very, very important to be able to listen. Shishir, are you with us again? I guess he's not with us yet. So go ahead, Les.
Well, you're muted, Shishir.
I've been in sales now for like over 40 years. And one of the things that I've used very successfully is my ears. You have two ears and one mouth, and they're there for a reason. You should be listening twice as much. And my best appointments or meetings with clients are when I simply go in and I ask one or two questions. People love to talk about themselves. They love to brag about their successes. Okay. And you're going to learn more from them and how to solve their problems by asking questions than you are, like Dave said earlier, just going in and blah, all this verbal diarrhea and stuff. So that's one thing I do very successfully is I ask a couple of questions. I think a lot about those questions before I get in front of the client because I know what I want to hear. So I have to design my questions to get those answers.
Absolutely.
And you ask one or two questions and you don't have to speak after 30 seconds. They're going to talk for an hour. And you just pay attention and you'll find all kinds of things that you can help solve with them.
All kind of things. And Les, as you're speaking, I'm looking at Karen and Craig's background. And quite often people will put the stuff they love in the background as well. So talk about those if you want to talk about something or ask questions rather about those things.
As a young student nurse, we always got to give the back rubs, and I was rubbing a back of an older gentleman and asked him about what his favorite kind of work was, and he told me, and I said, what's your best boss that you ever had? And he said that he worked at a grain elevator mill kind of place, and that he had a boss that when somebody came in, the boss was so good at recognizing facial expressions, he could tell. He said, "So you had a fight with your missus?" He said, "You're no good to me. Go home and get that patched up and then come back to work." And I thought, wow, imagine and it's so true. When you're thinking about other things, your mind isn't exactly on the job, more accident prone. But to go home and say, hey, the boss sent me home until we get this straightened out is really huge for the whole family and for the well-being. So I thought that it really stuck with me.
Absolutely. That makes a lot of sense because you are the same person. You're not in a box where you can be somebody else for a moment and then change into your real self after a while. You're always going to be you.
Yeah, and what Shashir said about Henry Ford, I'm used to the Henry Ford quote that says, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. But the one that he said about Henry saying, all I need is a pair of hands, kind of is equivalent to like, if I wanted your opinion, I would have asked for it, kind of leadership, which really stunts innovation and collaboration. So,
Right.
so far, I'm really enjoying.
Awesome. Great points. Now we're getting echo. Does anyone else want to contribute anything here?
I worked at an agency, an ad agency, and in advertising, if you lost a client, they started letting people go left and right. And so we had lost a major client, and they were having a party at, in a restaurant for the staff. So I asked one of the partners, I said, why are we having a party when we just lost a client? And he said, because everybody is so frightened, they're so afraid that they're going to lose their job. The morale is so low, and we just want to know you to know that we care about you and we're going to take care of you. So, yeah.
Can you guys see?
Ooh, echo big time.
Okay, let's try that again.
My computer is frozen and I can't seem to switch off the PC. I'm sorry, gentlemen, ladies.
Shashir, do you have multiple cameras?
Dave, you muted.
You need to shut off one of the microphones, either from the computer or from the camera itself.
My computer is frozen.
Can you turn off the mic on your phone?
Then
I'm thinking, Philip, maybe I can mute it if I can figure out where Shishir is. I could mute one.
Okay, try it now, Shashir, if you've turned off the mic on your
exactly.
phone.
Sure. Yeah, mute one of the Shishirs.
Okay, so I'm gonna mute this one, and go ahead, Shishir.
Okay, that's the wrong one.
I muted the wrong one. The only
no,
thing is,
Shashir's got to turn his mic on his phone again because that didn't work.
okay, so I'll mute the other one. Shishir, you have to unmute yourself. I'm not able to unmute you. I think he logged off. He's gonna log back in. I'll pause.
Oh, there he did. He managed to get off the other.
Oh, there he is. He's on his phone.
You need to turn the mic on your phone again, Shashir.
I'll buzz him. Okay. Something should flash on the screen.
mute.
There you
There
are.
we go.
We got you.
I am so sorry. This doesn't happen. My computer is frozen totally. I can't access it anymore.
Okay, let's do that.
Wonderful. Some of the discussions that were going on, and as we were talking about the different styles of leadership, I had gotten to my about 3/4 of the way through. And what I was really trying to make sure that we understand is leadership is a lot more about handling people only. Leadership also is about handling yourself. And how do you become the leader of your mind? Your mind's your best friend. Your mind's your worst enemy. How many of us toss in the bed every night, can't fall asleep because we got our mind racing? The 80-20 rule applies, where you spend 80% of your time chasing 20% of your results. What do we look for when we open first thing in the morning? We look at the news. 80% of our energy resources are tied up. Absorbing that, we lost out on the rest of our lives because we are too busy trying to solve problems which we have no control over. These are things that are necessary to understand and learn from. In business, I found 80% of my company's resources were tied up trying to service Home Depot. Home Depot was a great feather in my cap. It was also a big drain on my company. And sooner we realized that, the better it was that we discard that business and move on. And we did, and we became more profitable. Profits were excellent. We were growing leaps and bounds over and again. No procrastination every day. Go, go, go. My number one on my leadership team was my wife. And I learned so much from her. My friends, we are followers as well as leaders. All of us know how crucial and how grateful we should be for all the support that we get from even people like yourselves here are supporting each other. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dave, for doing that for years. But having talked about the business success, let's now focus on the individual success. We need to understand that we are the people that are going to drive things and things make things happen. By the age 53, very successfully grown the company, I began to feel very hollow. I began to feel hollow because I felt there was so much more to do in life than looking at balance sheets. The balance sheets were looking healthy, but the balance in life was not. The balance in life was gone. So it took a toll on my health, and I earned myself a heart disease, which I didn't need. It was time to refocus and change my lifestyle, which is what I did. At 53, I sold. Money was no longer a concern. It was now, how do I self develop? How do I make a difference in other people's lives that will give me a reason to feed my soul? So, this is what I've been doing for 20 years, feeding my soul. I'm completely off notes now. I'm just going by mind. So, please bear with me. When I did that, it absolutely radically changed my life. The happiness, the fulfillment of looking at the bank account no longer fulfilled me. Looking at a smile on somebody's face, that aha moment in their lives, and say, oh, I get it. Like when Philip said, you made a difference in my life. Do you know, Philip, that's what I live for? That keeps me alive. It's things like that which drive good leadership. And when you meet people who are on that path, you kind of see eye to eye. You can understand why they do what they do. At AAC, we're all retired CEO types. We've been giving back. We're not doing it for money. We're not for profit. We're just doing it so that we feel we are making a difference in the world, making a little positive influence on somebody whose life may be transformed. At Toastmasters, I've been doing it for 20 years. Cameron is here. He knows. My fulfillment is seeing people's lives transform right in front of my eyes. Whereas they were afraid to stand up and speak, now there they are, delivering great keynote speeches and feeling so much better about themselves. Of course, it helps them in the careers they get ahead. As we know, the people at the top of the pyramid are usually the ones who can best communicate, not the best who can work in the back rooms and write the best software. So these changes come along in our lives, and I was very happy and satisfied that I have taken that path. The third thing I do, of course, is heart and stroke, which is primary, saving lives. I've raised funds, I've raised awareness, I've sat in the advisory board and shared some of the experience that I gained from business. Business is a wonderful place to understand human nature. You grasp so quickly what it's all about. I know it's 8:43 and time is running, so I'm going to basically stop for now. I also want to thank Dave. He had done up a wonderful acronym of leaders. I would have shared it if I could see it on the screen, but it's down right now. However, very much in appreciation of what you and Karen do. Thank you. I shall take questions. I can't see most of you. I only see Dave right now. I don't hear you.
Oh, you won't be able to see us because I think the phone will only show 4 people at a time.
Okay.
However, you can swipe it, I think to the left, if I remember right, Philip.
Okay, I got it.
You got it. Okay.
Thank
So,
you.
so officially, we are open for questions, and once we get the first question, I'll find the acronym and I'll post it in the chat. All right. So questions or comments?
I have a question.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Here. When did you first realize that listening was such an important part of leadership?
Too late, I'm afraid. Way too late. When I realized that it was not my job to just give orders, I understood and made a big change. Listening for the sake of listening was so much more powerful without even giving an answer. Just being heard was a huge part of my success in building good teams.
How did you come to that realization, though?
That happens because many times I made mistakes. And I think most of us understand the male female style of dynamics of speaking. Male is always trying to solve a problem. So, what's the issue here? How can I fix that for you? No, that's not what she was saying. She was just saying, I'm going through this frustration. I need you to hear it. But we males have a tendency to be very quick on answering. So I learned it at home, my friend. My leader taught me. Next.
So Shishir, I'm going to continue Craig's question because you retired at 53. So you had a career, I imagine, started in your 20s.
Indeed.
And so how long did the listening part, what part of that career did you find out that listening was so important?
Probably in the first 5 years of business.
That early?
That early.
Wow.
Only because I could see the turnover in the staff. I could see people thought I was a boss, and that was not the point of it. I was trying to lead a team. I needed them to be holding hands with me and moving forward on the same page, same agenda.
Awesome.
Can I follow up with
Helen, go ahead, Craig, but Helen, unmute yourself after Craig.
So do you remember an incident in which you implemented that and it worked?
Many, many incidents, Craig. How many times I bite my tongue? Even though I know what to say, I do not say it. I kind of coax them. I coax them into saying it themselves. And when they do that, so now I get it. Wonderful. You solved it yourself. All I did was facilitate it.
I like that.
Helen.
I just wanted to thank you and say, blessed are the flexible, for we don't stay bent out of shape. That is a leadership skill that you had to show how to keep going, even though you no longer had access to your notes. So it's a sign of true leadership.
Yeah.
I thank you. I thank you. And this is one of the things that we at Toastmasters show people about communications and leadership. We give somebody a table topic. Suddenly, out of nowhere, you got to speak on a subject for 2 minutes. And that makes you being able to respond quickly. And Cameron, don't hold me to this, okay? You watch how I screwed up today.
Yeah, very important. So you make your notes, but you don't need them. In other words, you can go without.
It sometimes becomes second nature when you've been doing it over and again many, many times. And being part of the advisory group, we learn from each other. Many, many times I thought I knew the answer, but somebody had an even better answer. Craig can probably relate to that. He's met some of us. And it's not just one individual, because you learn from everybody. And they may all have different perspective on how they would solve the same problem. It's just that which one suits you best. We are all individuals, and we cannot apply the same leadership skills to every individual that works for us, because they require different stimulus from the others.
Okay.
So be very customized, be tailored in how you respond to different people's questions. You may have the same answer, but tailor it differently.
Shishir, can we talk about that for a little bit? ASE. Tell us, we kind of know already, but give us a full understanding of what you do, how many are you, and how to get involved with being there with the board listening to us.
Okay. So if you realize most large companies have boards of advisors, board of directors, where we are becoming boards to smaller companies that cannot afford to have a board. So what does board do? It's the wise counsel. It's somebody that you go and say, I'm having this difficulty, and many times I've tried this, I've tried that. And then say, what would you do in my shoes? Because they say, Shishir, what would you do? And there is 9, 10 of us. So we all have different perspective, including 2 ladies, by the way. So we have the dynamics, different age group, a good pluralistic group. Somebody wanted me to use that word. A good pluralistic group. We are able to contribute different perspectives on the same issues. We meet 2 times a week, 1.5 hours long meeting. You'd meet 4, 5, 6 of us. We don't want to overwhelm you with more than that, because that way you'd be having too many people speaking at you all at once. We take our turn speaking, we organize things, and it's Tuesdays and Thursdays. We meet from 10 to 11:30. We usually book 2 months ahead.
Wow.
Rest of the time, some of these people are now in Florida and come via Zoom. We're still able to look after clients' needs, and we try and keep a consistent team with one individual client so they don't feel they have to explain the same thing to different people every time they come in.
Wow. And give us some background of who is usually in these meetings, maybe a few of the people in the meeting.
We meet all kinds of people. My company was several $1 million sales. I'm the smallest company. The people who were running public companies, international public companies, and there was the chairman, CEOs. So you're meeting people of very different caliber from every aspect of the business. The beauty of meeting people like me is the fact that I've done it all. I was the shipper, I was the receiver, I was the deliverer, I was the installer, I was the manufacturer, I was the accounts. I've done it all, Philip, and you know how many hats you have to switch every day. So by the time I sold, I had 55 people working for me, 6 departments. It was wonderful to see that success come out of being not only clever, but being wise.
Wow. That's amazing. Twice a week. And you're 2 months to get involved with the group. You have to book 2 months ahead. Wow.
And before you ask me, there is a fee for meeting us. It's $150 to cover for our marketing, our Zoom account, our insurance.
Yeah. Which for most of us that would not be significant. 150. All right. So any other questions for Shishir? And Karen, don't be quiet there in the background.
I knew you were going to say something to me. So my mind is racing as to what could I say because you're going to call on me. First of all, thank you, Shashir. As always, you were wonderful, very informative, and we just love you. I really don't have a question, and I agree with so much of what you said. I think primarily because I deal with life in general, with my emotions more than my head sometimes. And so I tend to speak to people and try to make them understand that there's a certain level, there's a certain line you don't cross. And I used to say that about my kids. My kids will fool around and tease me and do and say all kinds of things, but never cross the line between parent and child. And it's something I think that you need to show rather than explain, because I can't even explain it now, but it works with people who work for you.
Leadership, that's what that's called, right?
I guess so, yeah.
If I can just interject and say something. Firstly, I see a message came by or flashed through. Jay, are you in Orlando?
Yes, I am.
Thank you for coming in. I appreciate it very much.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure.
When Karen mentioned emotions and how we sometimes do things out of emotions, emotions is a double-edged sword. It cuts both ways. We do things rash by emotions, but we also reach people's heart by emotions. So there's the two ends of emotions. Be very careful in how you utilize your emotions because they can hurt you very deeply. And I'm sure Anushka would agree, it hurts you at your cellular level. It affects completely your being. And a nurse is here who can also tell you bulk of the heart patients come because they're stressed out, not because they're eating badly. Quite often it was stress that nails them. So we appreciate emotions have to be managed. Feel, but run it through your brain before you act.
Well, I'm left brain, right brain, so I'm a little bit of both. And I remember telling this one girl who worked for me, I said, be firm, but always with a smile. So it's a combination of both. Try to do my best with
Good
that.
advice. Sarah, I want you to get involved as well. So when you're ready, unmute your mic. I know you're going to have a question somewhere. Jay, did you want to contribute anything here?
Oh, thank you, Dave. I appreciate so much having had your Zoom link invitation. As soon as I saw it when I woke up this morning, I clicked on it. I'm sitting at my desk, but on the expressions spilkas, pins and needles, because I've got to call support. We're in a resort type facility, and I don't have Wi-Fi, and I've got to get connected because I've got somebody waiting for me to get back to him about the crucifixion. So please excuse me as I leave you. I wish you all a great day, and thank you for the smiles and for doing what you always do.
And when it's time to cruise or
fly, make Jay your travel guide.
Ah,
all right.
Thank you.
He has programmed me. Very good. And he's actually my travel guy, so he's right, absolutely right about that. All right, so let's open up for questions. Sarah, are you with us? And you have some. There you
Of
go.
course I do.
All right.
I guess more
What?
on like
Did you call
managing
this?
your emotions. I'm very early in my career, and my experience so far has been only in academia where people are stealing your ideas or any comments that you make about their experiment, they're not giving you credit. And as like a very passionate researcher, and they're seeing their success, it kind of just like takes a bit out of you. So what advice would you give somebody just kind of starting their career in managing your emotions when you feel very passionate about the research that you do and about the impact and not having not getting adequate credit or yeah, that kind of stuff. Because like I'll lose sleep over that. It's horrible. Um, just because I love it so much, and to see like improvements in other people's work, it excites me. But then when you're not getting the credit, it's also just like I'm trying to build my qualifications right now. So it's always really challenging and it's frustrating. What advice could you potentially give for that kind of scenario?
thank you very much for that question. I didn't catch your name.
Oh, Sarah, sorry. I'm a chemist.
Okay.
Sorry, Sarah Chima. I'm a chemist. I just started my company this summer.
Okay.
I'm trained as a chemist. I do product functionalization, so I do like product improvement type work. My company is designing a water filter for Indigenous communities to make sure that they have access to clean drinking water. And I've put together a team of academics, industrial experts to really tackle the challenge and make a very simple solution using very sustainable ingredients and really creating a very sustainable process from the whole start to finish. Yeah, sorry.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That gives me a little background as to what you do. And first of all, kudos for what you do. It's very important that the service that you're providing is a great value add and is essential. Two things that came to mind as you were speaking to me was number one, in career when you're young and you're a female, your circumstance does not surprise me.
Yeah.
It bothers me. It bothers me a lot, but it does not surprise me because these things happen all the time. How many times have I sat in meetings with maybe 20 people, 30 people, and who's speaking? The loudest or the most senior. Who's not getting heard? They're the ones who are actually doing the work. Always, always, a good leader should make sure that people get a credit for that what they've input. And if you're not getting it, and you believe people are stealing your ideas and your thoughts and portraying them as their own, nothing new. It happens in families too. It happens everywhere. The question is, how do you show that assertiveness to be able to be heard when you need to be? And this is some assertive training that comes, and it's not necessarily things that we all have born with. We can train ourselves to know how to connect and also hold the stage. Holding the stage sometimes means not just blurting out answers, but to put out teasers. And they get curious. Well, what do you mean by that? Well, let me explain that to you. And I'm going to do it very slowly so we all can understand. Use a little bit of humor. Make sure that they don't feel that they're above you. Make sure that they're on an equal basis with you. When you are able to do that, that assertiveness comes quite often to not only the voice, body language, and the words you use, but also comes through with your excellence and the productivity that you're offering to the organization. And those should come through and say, after this implementation, which I'm suggesting, the numbers should change as follows. And then say, I have a slideshow, but I don't think this is the time for it. I just want you to understand where we are heading. And this is where I hope we'll all be at the next meeting. That kind of gives you the control of the room. That's how you become a leader in a group that is quite reluctant to be heard, letting you be heard.
Yeah, that's very common in a science field. Why people like, women in STEM initiatives are so strong. But yeah, no, that's really great advice.
Yes, you got two things going against you. Not only are you a female, that hurts you, but also the fact that you're young. And that does not help. People have that ageism thing. What do you know? Well, there's so many things I learned from you guys, younger people. I had no idea about the notebook LM. Somebody just showed it to me and I was totally bowled over. I learn every day.
Absolutely.
That's great. Thanks
All
so
right.
much.
Thanks for your contribution. Appreciate that. Latoya, you want to say something before you leave? Anna, I'll get to you in a second.
I definitely want to say shout out to Toastmasters. I actually went to and graduated from Toastmasters in middle school. So my mother was knowledgeable enough to make sure that I could speak articulately early on. And it has continuously been with me. I still count everybody's ums, ahs, unnecessary pauses, and weird movements. I'm very much so aware, and I do keep score. So I do appreciate you shouting out Toastmasters. Thank you for staying with them.
Who am
I am heading out. Say that again.
Who is it that I'm hearing? Who is speaking?
Oh, my name is Latoya Clark.
Thank you, Latoya.
Give a little bit about your background as well.
I had to stop for a second because I was like, where am I? So I can remember which background to go over. I've lived a couple lifetimes already. I am a Navy veteran. I retired from the FAA. I used to be an air traffic controller. I currently have a digital marketing and AI consulting agency. And I'm trying to think. I also highlighted as a massage therapist for a little bit and then realized I don't like to touch people. I've done a lot, but within that, Toastmasters has always been good to me. Just being real. But thank you so much. I do appreciate the insight.
Thank you, Latoya. Appreciate your comments.
Absolutely. You guys have a great day.
Awesome. And let's get Anna up. Anna.
Well, I was lucky enough not only to meet you, Shashir, here and this platform, but we had met in a different environment. Your knowledge, your how you how you talk to people. And it's all from your heart. And your heart, it's very fragile. So I really want you to have that heart for many, many, many years, because you are making a huge difference in everyone's life. And I really, really, really grateful that I have met you and experienced your expertise. But we are talking about emotion, and this is where I am lacking, Kat. I am overwhelmed, and I don't think sometimes it's benefit me, because people look at me when I start to share with them the importance of what I'm doing, and that sometimes it brings tears to my eyes. Now, I don't think it's a right emotions, because people can look at it from the different perspectives. And sometimes I'm losing maybe people because of how my emotions are. But I made okay with me that what I'm doing, it's not for everyone. Everybody has their own life. And I'm just making a comments, and maybe you can use your wisdom with me a little bit, at least. Put me on my spot.
All right, let him do it. Go ahead, Shashir.
Anushka, it's always a pleasure to listen to you and to be in your presence. You have done a lot for everybody, and you are very passionate about what you do. And that comes across. But as I said, passion has to be managed. Emotions have to be managed. And we all need to become masters of that. And it's so easy to be drawn away by emotions only. It is the rational brain that so often saves us from ourselves.
Absolutely. Well said. Anna, does that make sense?
Always. I just have to do it.
All right. I know Leslie's been waiting for a while too, so let's get him in.
I just want to touch on something that we've been talking about, one of the themes of the meeting today, about emotions. And I remember a conversation we had, I'm going back a few years, Shishir, where this very conversation was in one of our meetings. We talked about emotions, and the one thing I've always practiced is I leave my emotions at the door. Because no matter how I feel, this meeting is not about me. It's about the person in front of me. Whether it's my patient, my client, my friend, whatever, when I'm in your world, it's your world. It's about you. So it doesn't matter what my emotions and how I feel. So when emotions override logic, not a lot's going to get done. So I try and leave my emotions at the door in almost all cases, right? The second, sorry, what were you going to say? And I'll ask my
Leslie, I appreciate what you're saying. I think by leaving your emotions at the door, you'd come out and sit like a robot. If you don't show response to somebody's comments and move in and say, wow, really? That's emotions. That's emotions working positively for you in that conversation where the other person still feels that they are number one, because it is all about the other person. That's what we add value to. That's what makes our business successful. It's never about us. It's always about what can I do for you? How can I improve your life? How can I make a video that your corporation is going to be very proud of? Those are the kind of messaging that they need to receive. So that conveyance, it still requires emotions.
That's a great point.
Yes.
No, I totally respect your comeback on that. But as I say, if I go in and try and mute my emotion in there about how I feel and what I think is right, you understand the difference between what I'm trying to convey to you on that. So, but thank you. I really respect your comeback and appreciate that. So,
What's the number two, Leslie?
number two, very quickly, is one of the themes you talked about is simplicity and basics. One thing we try to do as business owners or authoritarians in our field is we try and be authoritarian. And we try and go out there and be the master of the science. And you made a couple comments there that brought it back to the basics and the fundamentals. And I think that's something that's very important too, is don't try and be more than you are. Try and be who you are. And I really respected that. That's a message I got out of your comments earlier, was the simplicity and the basics of doing what you do. Okay, so thank you. Thank you, Shishir.
There's a wonderful quote from Kafka. Kafka says, "I didn't realize life was a costume party. And here I arrived in my own face." Everybody puts on a mask. A boss becomes a powerful boss.
Yeah.
You got to remember, put the mask aside. You want to be a real, genuine individual, don't wear uniforms. Be yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Shishir.
Absolutely. Let's get Mr. Kumar. Come on in.
Hi, Sweet. How are you doing? It's great to meet you again after a long time.
It is.
And my question is regarding, as you know, I am financial planner, tax and estate planner. Recently, after COVID, actually, I started working with business owners and professionals. So my question is regarding critical illness insurance, which is very important for everybody, but we are trying to sell it to business owners, which is almost free of cost to them, but still we are struggling. So what would you suggest how we can approach regarding this very important part of life?
So let me try and repeat what I think I heard. You want to know technique of being able to approach a company, providing them a service which you think is going to be very low cost to them and high benefit to them.
High benefit to them, yeah.
Correct. Okay. So really it's a sales question. As a leader of your sales team, and if you are that, how do you appeal to their emotion to say this is the right thing for you to offer to your people? You got 7 key people in your organization and you depend on them. Critical illness is what you want to offer them. In that case, run a scenario by them. If Joe was no longer there, not able to perform, how would that affect the bottom line? The kind of things that might appeal to a CEO who has numbers to account for. And they might say, well, yeah, that would be tough on our company. We certainly can't afford to lose him. So what are you doing to cover him, his family, when he does go down? Well, I can only, the answer will come in without a clarity. That's when you say, let me put some clarifications on that. How can we make this happen so that Joe is looked after, his family is looked after, and more important than that, our company is looked after? Those are the kind of language that they will understand a lot quicker. And that I put on my salesperson's hat.
Yeah, thank you.
And
Dave, I have a problem trying to raise the hand.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, my question is, how do I deal with clients that do not give me the documents that I am required to do my work? I've run across this problem quite a few times, and it gets very frustrating, and it makes me well, I'm stressed because I need to get the work done, but I'm not getting the stuff. And I'm going to be meeting with somebody on Saturday, and I'm not sure how to approach it because I've been waiting for months for this stuff.
Okay, first of all, who am I speaking with?
It's Maureen.
Maureen Short?
Yes, and I do bookkeeping and tax for
I
a living.
remember that, yes. Okay, so you're saying people don't send in the documentation and you're expected to do the year end or the tax planning How can you do that if they do not give you that documentation? Of course, when they don't do that, you cannot perform because your job is dependent upon those documents. So they need to understand that they are the bottleneck to their own success. They're not going to get their job done until you do. And if you continually call them, and every year they're getting used to the format that she'll call 10 times before I do it, that's okay. She'll continue calling. That's when they realize that they've got a leeway with you. And they will continue to take advantage of you as long as they can. Yesterday, my snow guy who comes to clear my snow for me didn't. I don't bother him much, but I send him a little text and I said, you've been doing quality work for me for the past 10 years. I missed seeing you today. My driveway is blocked. 2 hours later, my driveway was cleared. It's a question of how you construct that messaging. And Maureen, the longer you allow them to bully you, the longer they'll continue doing that.
Shishir, you want to weave the sandwich techniques in there?
Absolutely. Sandwich technique is really something that we do in business all the time. How do we give a tough message in a soft way? A tough message in a soft way. Well, I need to tell you that you are failing on this account. So firstly, what you might do, in that case, Maureen, is to say, I appreciate your business very, very much. We have worked with you for the past 20 years or 5 years, whatever, and we've been very happy servicing your account, and we've never had any audits on your account. But having said that, there's one thing that I would give you as a point of growth whereby it'll save both you and I a lot of aggravation. Then you tell them, if you can supply these documents to me by this date, I may be able to give you the right amount to invest in your RSPs or whatever. It is essential that you show them the middle part, which is the middle part of the sandwich. First, the soft side. Second was the messaging. And then you finish with the soft side always, which is to say, do you know, Harry, this is nice that you picked up the phone and we talked. It is necessary to get things clear the air, appreciate what we do for each other, and I love to continue servicing your account, but please help me so I can do that better. That might be a good messaging. Thanks for reminding me that, Dave.
No worries.
Thank you.
Does that make sense, Maureen?
Yes, it does. Yeah.
It does. Awesome. Awesome. All right. So what we're going to do is stop the recording. So if you have private questions, you can ask it now.